Thank you. Thank you for getting to know me much better, and I can share this experience with you. And anyhow, we just let off. I didn't even meet with Pamela Mobley again. This is a general services office. No way. Psychological. Trying to improve the malpractice. Pamela Mobley, as I mentioned, would absolutely not discuss anything. Let me make sure this is recording. Okay? All medical. Went to UAB, MRI. I'm estimating started, I don't know the exact date range. I can get to the files. I do remember the phone numbers, though. See that? No way. That's not supervisors. I don't know what they concocted here. They make you appear that she's a supervisor. Oh, shoot, bet she is. Right up to Jim Harris III. Anything to increase performance. Anything. There's not a speck of truth to any of it. This is how they disqualify. It's obvious. They commit psychological malpractice. It's virtually impossible to prove, except with me. Because you have that 35 years. Very high profile. If I didn't have that 35 years, they wouldn't be able to, it's almost guaranteed it's so difficult to prove. Anyhow, went for the MRI, and promptly I was referred then to, her name is Marsha Obert. Now you got Mrs. Pamela Mobley's phone number. It comes across as a supervisor already, and you're not kidding, a supervisor, straight to someone who just runs wild on mental illness. Human studies professor. They hide it. Ulterior motives. When you look at, I was instantly referred infantile treatment after that MRI to Marsha Obert at 205-290-4490. Again, 290-4490. There's Becky, I don't remember her last name, the assistant administrator to Marsha Obert. Give her a call. Just listen to her. Infantile treatment. You need to, what do you think they're doing there? Of course, they're committing psychological malpractice, what they did. That MRI, God only knows what those medical records are. They're that thick. Huge. How much have they been? See how that works? See what Jim Harris III and Stephen K. Simpson does? I was referred instantly to infantile treatment. You call 205-290-4490 and just listen in. Don't say anything. Marsha Obert. That Pam Mobley is right up there at the top. Right by Jim Harris III. No business to have that kind of authority. And Stephen K. Simpson. Somebody knows what they're really doing here. It's the psychological malpractice I'm about to prove. Just to give you an idea how you ran aimlessly, getting nowhere. All started. There you go. There's 2006. I cannot get to the file of 2010. I don't know where it is. I'm not going to take the time at this moment to try to find it. I got it, and certainly it's on a computer file. I'm positive. I don't know how much is on it. I may have been planning to scan them later and will lose them, those hard copies. I certainly have a head-on to 2004 perfectly. Now, look at this date. It basically said, I'm very vulnerable to homelessness at this point. My past 35 years is slipping away very quickly, along with an individual that is going to come on even stronger. It already has in 2010. By then, Facebook reputation is completely ruined. This guy is calling me and trying to set it up again. Always partnering up. Then the end result is hours upon hours. You could see how I was scared to pick up the phone anymore. I'd say the phone's out of service the last month. It's impossible. I think that happened in actually June of 2010. Okay. It was a bit of a challenge to get the phone company out here, but finally I did it. I'm very experienced as far as the highest level of EQ, as far as good solid business practices and getting those results. No match for Marsha Obert. I never met with her. She wouldn't even discuss infantile treatment. Just endless maneuvers, getting laid astray, no substance. PhD, vocational, impossible. You got entrepreneur. All of that from Jim Hurst III. Again, I was in touch with him at least 4 times a year from that point forward. This is where the psychological malpractice could come into play. I will be able to prove with the 35 years and what's about to happen here, exactly what happened. This is going to be a most interesting case, though. Isn't that cool? Look at that. Shepard, 1973-74, I cherish. I think we all do. Normal stuff. Anyhow, that's irrelevant, so I'm going to get back to the main focus. 2010. Where was I? Man, I did everything I could to get that resume and brand myself as quickly as possible because it was impossible to get a PhD in vocational psychology from the highest level of expertise. They'll get that Pam Mobley, and they'll lead you to believe something that is completely irrelevant. I was treated infantile. And I was in touch with Mrs. Obert probably 3-4 times. Finally, Jim Hurst III, the attorney. Boy, I spoke to, it had to be August 14th of that blog when I actually spoke to Stephen K. Sips. I've never heard somebody so bankrupt in my life. Or maybe that happened a little later. It didn't happen that time. I was probably very nice about it and not in desperation for absolute survival where I was about to lose everything. It was an indication I was vulnerable to it in 2010. Normally, and I'm going to hold on. I'm able to hold on to that 35 years. I'm able to hold on to it. I was out of my mind to stay down in this incorporated norm. I didn't know it yet. I was still operating on the basis of Lake County, but it was you cannot get, this is between you and I, you cannot get a PhD in vocational or a master's, let alone for any professional career counseling. No hearing aid, nothing. They pulled endless maneuvers of psychological malpractice, continued it, and it became very apparent over the next 2 years, and no matter what it takes to increase performance. All of it is a human studies professor running on steroids that is really concocting and creating mental illness. They did that from the first day. Remember when I mentioned created disorder? Every bit of that is using mental illness as a disqualification when I can flat out prove it, and I'm going to. I would approve psychological malpractice here. I do not have, and I'm not going to have the time to reconstruct anything in 2010 other than I frantically, oh yes, there's more. I frantically did everything I could to make that match again with that experience that's been true for 35 years. Well, specifically at 8 years in Lake Forest, should have been a very successful career. Unheard of for this to happen. Or is it? What's the difference between Birmingham and Lake County, Illinois? I'm ready to teach you. And I'm getting ready what I'm aiming for. The reason I'm investing this day that I should be focusing on my career, this is a whole lot more important. This will be an absolute survival. In 2010, I recall that, Robert and I made contact again, and that guy yelled at me. I listened for 2.5 hours of him yelling at me, not even slipping a word, and just listened. I might as well have put down the phone. I didn't have the disrespect. Maybe it was only an hour and a half. Oh, it was at least an hour and a half. And that's when I finally it was reestablished again after all the fighting and making up and all that. I introduced a legacy. Very solid. At least it appeared solid. I really focused on that match, though. I tried again. with the psychological malpractice. That's going to quickly escalate in my records. I do not have them available for 2010, 11, and 12, but now you can already see I'm writing a blog of homelessness becoming a factor. That is an incorporated norm of Birmingham. It would be absolutely unheard of in Lake County, Illinois, nor certainly someone who comes from the Chicagoland North Shore. So, does it make a difference between the North and the South? I believed. There was no way that could happen to me. It's eminent now. I don't think there's any way I'm going to pull out of this. This is what I'm working up to. This is what I'm working up to right now. Absolutely, that psychological malpractice, falsified medical records. That's what Jim Harris III and that attorney are accomplishing. And the chance of getting caught is virtually non-existent, particularly on psychological malpractice. Oh, I'll guarantee you. They're going to do everything they can to pull every single possible maneuver. They're not going to be able to prove this one. I believe there's many other human studies professors. There's plenty that this is very, very serious. It's not going to be my decision. I can just present the experience of living down here in Birmingham, which I could never believe you could become transformed, especially legally and medically. See how powerful those special... I'm not about to learn that for a bit more time. That happened most likely closer to 2012, where I really understood it's all medical, but none of it is. About 2012. I'll share that. And so at that point, we continued on, and boy, Robert really come back strong in 2000. Again, it occurred 2010, in multiple spots. He really came back strong. He was talking about, to Sheila Schiffman. I noticed a post, and believe me, I would not obsess on another person. I'm starting to learn a little bit about this guy now and really understand it. I forgave him at that point. The legacy. I forgave him. It came back a whole lot stronger after that. He was literally, between then and 2011, let's see where I am. Good enough. That will conclude the 2010. I need the actual file to construct. But you do see, man, I do not have anything of 2009, 2010 that's successful. My recollection is going to be pretty strong here. Now, again, for me to do this on Saturday, August 14th, okay? Probably where I was nice, but boy, I'll tell you, when I contacted Jim Harris III at least another 10 times before it got up to much more in 2011, 2000. No, I didn't do that time range. I'm including 2011 there. If what I stated, average about 3 times, 4 times. And each time, man, this guy spent hours. We spent a lot of time. Could have been all maneuvers. And then I called him. That happened probably in 2011. I'm going to update that relative to that. Thank you. Thank you for learning about me. Thank you for letting me share this experience. And I will always, always be honest. Always. I don't want to even take a chance of fooling around with that. So thank you. Thank you for getting to know me and letting me share this experience with you, so you're understanding what the basis. Thank you. So here we go. Again, it's obvious. It was very well established. It had to be with Marsha Obert at this point. See? I got it more down. I get to the files. I'll be able to reconstruct it. Thank you. Thank you.